but this year is actually pretty cool. Like, I've been putting myself out there a little bit more and getting more opportunities, and it's been cool. This year started off pretty crazy. Yeah, I'm pretty happy.
For you, you know, you say you want to talk about your alcoholism from the past, car accident, and you say you want to raise awareness. Why is it important for you to raise awareness around that?
Well, it's people die every day from it. You know? And it's, dude, like, the thing for me is, like, you know, I never thought in a million years that I would get, like, hit by a drunk driver or being involved in an accident or anything. Whoever thinks that, you know? But then it happens, and you're like, dude, can I cuss on this show?
Yeah.
Oh. But then you're just like, fuck, dude, like, this really happened, you know? And you're fighting for your life, and all of a sudden, you know, it's just like, it changes your life in an instant. But I think, for me, it's like one of the most, I don't know if this is insensitive, but it's one of the most pointless ways to die, to me. Like, it's just like, I don't know. It like really, like, I've seen it time and time. You see it all, you know, and my accident was during Cinco de Mayo weekend. So it happens, I mean, it can happen any time.
How long ago was this?
2009. So, like, you know, it was like May 3rd or something, the weekend of Cinco de Mayo when everyone's drinking, you know. But it happens, you know, like, I've seen, like, horrible accidents, like, during New Year's, during the holidays, and then it's even worse because it's, like, the holidays, you know. Like, you hear, I don't know, like in San Jose a couple of years ago, a family was driving back home, and this drunk driver just came out of nowhere, killed his kid in the back, a 14-year-old kid. This parent survived. I think the girl died too, the drunk driver. But it's like, fuck, dude, like, it just creates so much chaos. You know, one of my friend's mom died like that. You know, it's so crazy. And I think it is important to, like, talk about it. Because it's a problem.
And it's interesting that you're talking about what leads to folks not knowing their limit, alcoholism, you know, because even a close family member of mine, when they told me, hey, I'm 30 days clean, I'm 90 days clean, I'm like, I didn't even know it was like that, you know. You don't, the people around that care, they don't, because it's something very personal sometimes that, like, people hold it in. It's not something that you're talking about openly and things like that. People may not necessarily be proud of that. So to help those people to change might be really difficult, right? So it has to be within the person to have that determination to, like, you know what, I am seeing how much this is affecting me. Yeah,
you know, speaking on the alcoholism part, you know, it took me forever to learn, you know, like, or to know, like, yo, like, something's going on with me, you know, like, I have a problem. But once you get to that point, like, it's the person, it's the individual that gets to that point, like, yo, look, I gotta, like, change, or I'm not gonna, you know, I'm gonna keep going on in this, in that cycle, you know.
What is it that you want young folks to know, or just anybody out there that may be dealing with this problem?
With alcoholism, or with any type of addiction?
With alcoholism in particular. And maybe these are folks that may not even know that they have a problem, right? Like you're saying that it took you a long time.
A lot of people don't know. You know, they just think, like, oh, I drink on the weekends, or I drink whatever, so and so amount a day. But I guess what I want them to know, that there is, you know, you can do it. If you want to get rid of it, you can get rid of it. My whole thing is, like, yo, look, like, some people can and can't drink, and you got to determine if you're one of those people. You know? Me, I can't drink because I'll keep it going for a good while, like, just balancing in this and that. But then eventually it's just gonna turn into a full-fledged problem, And
how do you know it's a problem? When did you finally were like, oh, hell no, it's a problem? So maybe the accident, but, like, was there anything besides that?
Well, the thing is, the accident happened. I was already a year and a half sober.
Okay.
And I wasn't.
Oh, you were hit by a drunk driver.
Yeah, I wasn't drinking at all.
Okay.
But like, I asked myself a couple questions. You know, you ask yourself a couple questions. Is it affecting your family? Is it affecting your work? Is it affecting different things in your life? You know, most importantly, your family, though. And when I realized that it was affecting my family, I was like, yo, like, you know, I gotta stop. And also, at that time, I was, like, engaged, and that fell through mostly because of that, the drinking. And, you know, it's like you lose things. You start losing things, you know. And yeah, I mean, and when you start seeing that happening, you're like, okay, something's wrong here, you know, and you gotta like identify it. But some people don't care, you know, like I still see people that are into the same patterns, and it's like you can't really feel, or you can't really what's the word, you can't imagine like a world without alcohol, you know? And that's how I was. So I was like, dude, I can't, like pizza and beer to this day. I'm like still like, man, I really want pizza and beer.
Miss it.
It doesn't go away, you know. It doesn't go away. But like,
so you're saying that the temptation's always around?
Oh, always. Yeah, it's always there. It never goes away. But you know, you gotta balance it. And when I do feel like that, I just remind myself, like, yo, you did this, you did that, this happened. So it's like I give myself constant reminders of when I feel like, you know, every now and then I'll feel like on a hot day or something, or like with pizza, you know, like it was my favorite thing, you know. But I'll give myself a reminder, like, yo, you're gonna have this pizza and beer, but then, you know, a couple months
slippery slope,
you're gonna be, you know, doing crazy shit again, you know. So yeah, I mean, I think like just be, you know, for kids out there, for anybody that's struggling with it, just be mindful about what you're doing to the people that you love, you know, because it doesn't matter. I mean, your friends matter, but it's like the people that you love are your family. Like, regardless, when everyone's gone, they're the ones that are going to be there for you, you know. So yeah, be mindful of that, and you know, ask yourself those questions, the tough questions.
And it's important that you're bringing it up and that you care about sharing that awareness, you know, because a lot of people, they need to hear this, but like, where do they turn to get that help? You know, yes, you can go to AA meetings.
You can go to AA, yeah, but I mean,
things.
It's like.
But it seems like we need it to be more mainstream, that there's people that are like really out there. Hey, you know, alcohol itself is not all like partying and fun.
Out of all the drugs, alcohol is the worst drug. I mean, I've had this debate with many people, but it's the worst one. It's the most accessible. It's cheap, you know, and it's just, you know, it's the worst one out of all of them, you know. Yeah.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah. So how much did music play an influence in you wanting to, I'm sure it was, you know, thinking about your family, wanting to make a change, but how much did music play a role okay, I want to make this change?
I honestly can say that music did like bring me out of that like darkness, because I was in this darkness for a while with my drinking, and at a time I would relate to, I would put like the two in like they would be hand in hand, you know. Oh, you need a drink to make music, but then it became like, yo, music kind of brought me out of that darkness, you know. Yeah. Because there was a point where it was really tough, dude. Like, it was really tough. There was a lot of downs, you know, a lot of dark points, but you know, I honestly say like my love, my passion for music really brought me out of that. And, nice. You know, it was yeah.
For you, when did that start, that love and that passion? Because, you know, you have posted up photos on Instagram, Facebook, you know, of like when you're a little kid. How old are you in that picture where you're wearing the headphones? And it looks like you have horns on. Like...
Oh, yeah, I edited the picture. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You know, I've always been around music. My grandma, my grandma B, she was a really good singer. And her husband at the time, was a guitar player. It was, you know, they would always get together and play
Is that
guitar.
The picture that you posted of was that your great grandpa or?
Well, yeah, that was my great grandpa. That was my grandma B's dad.
Okay.
So, but he was a musician as well. But my grandma B, when I was growing up, I never met. I think he died in like the late 70s. I think I was born in '84, so I wasn't ever able to meet him. But yeah, my grandma B was an amazing singer, and you know, she would play with her husband, and they would play guitars. They would always get together, have like little palomazos, like with other people, and I was always around music. Like my mom, like always credit my mom to showing me like the oldies, the funk, the Santana, like all the English type, or it was like Latino influence too. But my dad is the one who showed me like the banda, like the norteñas, the rancheras.
Where's he from?
He's from Nayarit.
Okay.
Yeah, he was born in Nayarit.
And your mom?
She was born here, but she was born in San Francisco, and then because her dad was my grandpa was in the Air Force, and they would move a lot, But then he got out, and then they just relocated to San Jose. So, but yeah, it's like.
So you have this history. It seems to be this rich history of musicians in your family. Your great grandfather, your grandmother.
Yeah, like my grandma never did it. Well, my grandpa never did it really professionally or tried to like go out and play. Not that I know of. And my grandma didn't either, which I'm like, dude, like she could have been like good. She'd been great, But yeah, I mean, honestly, like in this generation of our family, it's pretty much just me and my cousin Camille. I'm trying to think who else plays. My uncles and stuff. Some uncles play, and my aunt, my aunt sings. But it's like my cousin Camille. She went to school for music therapy. She's like a classically trained pianist. She started playing at 5. I mean, she's amazing. And but I'm trying to think who else plays. I mean, like I have cousins on my dad's side that do beats and stuff like that. But yeah, for the most part, like I think me and my cousin Camille are the only one that's like pursued it like as a profession or as a career,
Cool.
And big ups to my cousin Camille. She just got her she's got a certification in like music therapy, like certified music therapist, something like that. I was like, man, I might need.
What does
some
that
of this.
mean?
And, I don't want to like say that I know about it, but I'm pretty sure it's like using music to like heal.
Okay.
With like older people, I think, and like maybe like kids, but I don't really know, so I don't want to like speak up. Yeah. But yeah, it's like pretty much using music to like heal.
Nice.
Stuff like that.
And so you played at Sonido Clash Music Festival. Shout out to those guys that do an amazing job. It was the 3rd annual. This was in September of 2018. So what was that experience like?
Dude, it was so cool. I mean, like, early on, like, I was in Sonido Clash since the beginning. Like, since it started in, I think in 2009, 2010. I remember we did like the first Sonido Clash at Johnny B's. Remember Johnny B's? We did it with Toy Selecta and El Cuco, and we did it at Johnny B's. Only like 5 people showed up.
You said El Cuco?
El Cuco. Cuco from
Cuco. Okay.
Yeah, and yeah, it was funny because only like 3 or 4 people came.
So you started.
For Toy Selecta. Damn. So it was cool, dude. It was cool, and it's like we always kind of had like that vision of like of getting to this point where we had like this event, where it was like big on a big scale, and it's cool. So like I was in Sonido Clash for a couple of years, but then I had to get out because I started doing the Swanatron stuff, and I just got really busy, and I'm like, like I can't really give myself like I want, so it's like. It's kind of unfair, to be like, I want to do this, but I have so many more like obligations and stuff like that, so.
No worries.
Yeah, I know.
You gotta do what you gotta do. But shout out to Fernando
Mixtape, Turbo, Tommy. Who else was there? Melinda. Was there Quinn? Quinn's in and out too. There's been a bunch of people there in it, But
why do you think the importance of Sonido, like I guess the creation of Sonido Clash, like why do you think that's important in San Jose?
Just pushing Latino culture, pushing, doing events that like young Latinos. I mean, San Jose is predominantly Latino, so it's like you gotta show these, the kids like, like there's these artists out there that you can relate to, and you're just doing cool stuff, for not only kids but like the older generations and.
I've definitely appreciated it. I went last year. Last year was my first time, and seeing the different folks, just seeing the culture, seeing the art, seeing folks coming together, and it was a very beautiful experience. I went last year. Yeah. I actually didn't catch your set because I was volunteering. I was at the snack stand. Okay. But regardless, it was a really cool environment to be in, you know.
Yeah, I
folks
mean,
performing.
You know, it's like being there and then playing. You know, it's like, you know, like I was saying, like we were just dreaming of this like event, you know, that we were gonna do, and to just come back and see like the fruits of what was taking place early on. You know, you see like, you know, like I said, like we did this first event and it was just like, you know, there's not a lot of people, but then, you know, we started just going, doing big things at Pagoda. Pagoda was a really important venue for Centennial Clash because we really kind of established like a good what's the word, a good rapport or whatever, like with events and you know, with the community, and we did a lot of good events there. There's a lot of cool events there.
And actually I remember a post, this was a while ago, that you posted of just kind of feeling frustrated, like wanting to play in your hometown in San Jose, in downtown area, but feeling like I can't remember exactly. I just remember the essence of the post that you put on social media. But it was like feeling frustrated that like you're wanting to play in your hometown, but it's very hard to like get to venues or like have that support. Or if you can kind of like, if you remember what the post was about, if you want to talk on that.
Yeah, you know, I mean, I guess back then I was really like really angry, you know, like just with San Jose, and like, you know, it's like I worked in Sofa District for over like 10 years doing booking and promotion at Southwick Billiards, which is now Forager. You know, and I kind of seen like when I first started, I guess when I first started booking there, like Sofa was like a ghost town, dude. Like, there was a sports bar across the street from Billiards. You know, Anna Domini was doing their thing with the art, and then Makla over here was doing like hardcore shows, but they still had like the art and everything. But I mean, that was pretty much it. And then there was like Voodoo Lounge. I don't know if you remember Voodoo Lounge, but they were kind of like, you know, doing like hip hop stuff and, you know, different things. But I mean, it just didn't. I don't know. Like, it was just frustrating because like you can only play there, you know, or you can only play billiards and, you know, different. It's just, it was so hard to.
You're talking about because you were doing cumbia and doing something different?
Well, yeah, well, at that time I was doing more promoting, booking. Like, I wasn't really doing a lot of, I mean, I was doing music, but I wasn't doing that kind of music yet. Okay. But it was just really frustrating to try to get a space for, like, Latino music. Like, now it's just, like, it's cool. It's cool. Like, I mean, I see, like, all these venues, and they're, like, people are so open to, like having a Latino act and bringing, you know, because dude, like
the Ritz. I really like the Ritz.
Yeah, like, okay, so like, well, like for the Ritz, for example, like I work with High Fidelity Productions, Jose Torres, and we've done a lot of. I mean, I remember going to the meeting that day. And I'm like, yo, like, you guys need a Latino act in here, you know, like from when they were in the Blank Club, they hardly ever had Latino stuff going on, but you know, it's like you go in there and you tell them, yo, look, this is, but it, you know, most of the I guess the root of the problem is just like them not knowing where to like you gotta steer them in the right direction. Like, yo, look at this artist. You know, the first show we did there was Chicano Batman. Sold it out.
Damn.
Line
where at?
All the way down Ritz.
Okay. Yeah. When was that?
It was like 2 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah. Sold it down the line, and you know, that's why I'm just telling the owner, I was like, yo, dude, look, like.
People will come.
They did. Like, this is what it's about, you know. We've done so far. We've done Chicano Batman. We've done Flor de Toloache from Brooklyn. We did Nortec Collective. We did Dread Marai. Dread Marai sold out. It was dude, it was a beautiful show. We've done a couple other parties here and there, but we do like mainly we book the Ritz, and then we do like if we have a smaller act coming through, we'll do like back bar or whatever, you know, or we'll find another spot. But yeah, you know, I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's just like before though, it was just hard to be like, yo, like, you know, like let's try to bring this band, you know. But it's just like now, I think that I think people are starting to realize that like the Latino movement or whatever in San Jose is a big one, you know, and it's like. Or the market or whatever, and yeah, and I think it's like now it's just a lot more open, and there's a couple more venues. I think it's still a little bit, you know, more. It's a little bit like there's not a platform. There's not like this platform that we have in San Jose, you know, where it's just like everyone always talks mess about San Jose and like, but no one does anything about it, you know. And like groups like Sonido Clash, you know, we're doing something. They're doing something about it, you know? And there's other people that are out there that are doing something about it. Now it's just like, you know, I just remember back in the day, just always complaining like, oh, we can't do this. Like everyone's all worried about the Cactus Club, and everyone's just living in that time, you know. It's like it's never gonna be like that again, guys, you know. So so let's make something, you know, let's make something new, you know.
And maybe that's why the work that you've put in, the work from the folks from Sonido Clash is so important, right? To lay down the groundwork for future work or future acts, you know, to come out of San Jose, especially young folks, you know, that are hopefully seeing that, like folks that went to Sonido Clash in September, like young folks, you know, seeing like, oh damn, like this is possible. Like I can come up in my own city and like actually be recognized and launch from there. Right? That
is a very key point, because yes, after we're, you know, I'm like 34, you know, I'm not gonna be young forever, you know, but
you're not. I thought we were. I wish.
Maybe.
But I don't mind.
Maybe
I don't mind getting older, but I definitely want to leave behind something for the young folks.
Yeah.
Putting in the work so that they recognize that, like, oh, I can do this.
Yeah, and again, like that's like the biggest, like, that's, you bring up a very good point, because like kids do go to these events. Kids do go, and that's the biggest.
That's what I liked about Sonido Clash. It was all ages.
It was all ages, and that's why you want to have all ages events, you know, because kids will be like, yo, I want to do this someday. Like maybe they might not want to play, but maybe they want to promote or organize and do all this stuff, you know. So it's like that's why I always stress, like, yo, like we got to do youth programs and get people, you know. It's like there's not really like classes or workshops out there for like promoting or for booking, you know. And I've always been like, yo, like I want to do it, but I can't do it alone. I need like a lot of help. But you know, it's like it'll be cool to do a workshop on like, yo, like this is how you throw an event. You know? Like this is how you organize an event or organize a festival or whatever, you know.
And that's so much power right there, is to be able to bring together the community. That's power, you know, like that's networking.
Yeah.
That's people being able to then work together in the future. And it's very key. And something that, and again, like I've seen a lot of stuff just because I've known you for some time, and you know, you actually DJ'd at my 23rd birthday party. So just like, you know, coming through and like seeing your posts too on social media. And I remember you posting something about teaching youth guitar.
Yeah.
So what was that experience
like?
Well,
I worked at a school in I think it's Midtown San Jose. It's called Luther Burbank Elementary, and I worked as an after school instructor there for about 2 years, like 2 years, 2.5 years, and that job was you know, that it was funny how I got this job. My friend Gama, I don't know if you know Gamaliel Marquez. He had hit me up. He's like, yo, I have this opportunity for you if you want to teach kids guitar, you know, for half an hour every day or every other day. So I'm like, yeah, cool. I go for the interview, do the thing, you know. And I get there and I go in, and then, you know, I think I'm going to be teaching these kids, you know, for half an hour. And I have to actually have a class, you know. And he tricked me. Because he knew probably I was going to be like, nah, I don't want to do this, you know. He tricked me into this job, you know.
Trickster.
And I was just like, yo, dude, like, and he just left, and I'm there with the kids, and I had to be with him. It was like every day from like, I think like 12, from like 2 to like 6 or something like that.
Damn!
Dude, I was like, and I just, you know, if you're gonna see my face, like when he was explaining to me what I was gonna be doing, he's like, oh, this is Mr. Matt, this is your class. Like, I was like, motherfucker. Like, I was just like, what the hell did you just do to me? You know, he walks out, and then I just, like, look at the kids, and I'm like, oh, dude, what did I get myself into, you know? But, like, honestly, it was the best job I've ever had in my life. You know? I loved going, that was the first job I ever, like, was like, I can't wait to go to work tomorrow, you know? And for the first, like, couple months was rough, because it's like, these kids, you know, they test, and, you know, you gotta, like, You just can't be nice. You can't be nice, you know? Like, you gotta be, like, super mean the first couple months.
Yeah.
You know, and, like, but, you know, it's like, honestly, it was the most rewarding job I've ever had in my life. and it was just that it kind of like instilled in me like, yo, like the youth, like these kind of things, like after school programs, music programs, all that stuff is very important, very vital to a young kid's like outcome or well-being, you know, because you never know. The kids that I had the mariachi kids, so again they had all their guitars and everything, but there was a lot of stuff going on in that neighborhood that was like, you know, it's just, you know, a lot of drugs and, you know, I mean, there was like a lot of murders too, you know, like I remember like it's a lot of violence going on around them, and I know they lived in that, I know they seen it, you know, so like for them to come to my class and be able to just kind of like get away from that and be like, yo, look, like you can do this, you know, like you don't have to like get into that lifestyle, you don't have to like, you know, go that way or go that route, you know, and you don't have to like accept what's going on in your community. You can like use whatever I'm teaching you or music or whatever to kind of like get out of that or to make it better or to alleviate it. And yeah, these kids were awesome. You know, they were tough, you know, they were like tough kids, you know, like they reminded me of me when I was growing up, you know, like coming from the hood and, you know, but still like they weren't like, I mean, they were kids, you know, they were cabrones, you know.
Cabroncitos.
Cabroncitos, yeah. But, you know, I mean, but they just, they were loving, they were awesome kids. Like the other day, one of my students was on, one of my old students was on IG Live, and I went on and I just like, hey, you know, Jordan, like, hope you're good. And then she was like, oh, Mr. Matt, he's the reason why I started playing guitar. I was like, what? I was like, cool, man. And I still have kids like that come up that hit me at one of my old students, Alonso. He started playing accordion. He's doing cumbia. You know, it's like it's so cool to like to see it. You know, like he's so good. He plays everything. He's so good. And I know there's a lot of other kids out there that also like continue with the music, and you know, but those are the ones I see. You know, but it's like you can like. And I know it's like cliche, but you can make a difference.
Yeah, you can, people.
You can
just
get
out there.
Just get out there.
And I think this is it's so exciting because, you know, in the coming years, you're gonna be seeing these folks hopefully out there, you know, doing it and continuing with the music if they feel very passionate about it. And you know, you can take credit for it, you know, in the sense that, not to be cocky or like, I'm the one, right? No, but really, you were the one that was giving them that time and putting in the time and effort for them to grow and cultivate. You do your part. And okay, so like this comes to another point of mine. Like when I was in my alcoholism and when I was in that, I was very empathetic to everything. Like empathy was crazy for me. Like I would take the world's problems on my shoulders and I'd be like, oh, like you know, you can never you can't change the world, like this and that. Like you can, you know. And and that job, the school job taught me that. You know, like it taught me that lesson. Like, yo, you change the world by changing what's in your immediate surroundings, what you can do. Yes. You know, whether that's doing some sort of charity work or I don't know, like running a food bank or something. Taking your interest and giving them back. We all have gifts.
Yeah, donating your time to something. Yes. And but I mean, obviously, I wasn't donating. I was working for them, but I mean, I honestly feel like that's how you do change the world, little by little, but what you can in your immediate surroundings. Because I used to be like, yo, like, you know, people are starving and this and that, but it's like, I can't do anything about that. We can't do anything about that. Right. You know?
And there's people starving here.
And they are,
in your neighborhood.
But you can do something about that.
Yeah, that's more manageable. Yeah, I've definitely, and I'm so grateful for having gone to San Jose State for school, and I was there for 5 years, you know, lived in San Jose for 5 years, so it was very nice to be able to see, and San Jose has influenced me a lot in the sense that, like, just like culturally and politically and socially, like, people are very active, you know, in San Jose, and there's always something going on, whether it's shows or, you know, people marching or people protesting or whatever it was. And my first experience of having that community was with Sahe, you know, Student Advocates for Higher Education. Shout out to them, who's amazing, San Jose State.
Yeah.
They're an amazing group of people, you know, that are very passionate about making change in the community, but they're also really fun, you know, very like amazing, like cool set of folks, you know. So
that's how I think I met you, yeah.
Yeah.
Through Sahe,
yeah, through Sahe. So so it's been really, really cool to be kind of like a surrogate sister, you know, through of like San Jose.
Yeah.
Even though I'm from Hayward, you know, proud to be from Hayward, but also having that community over there in San Jose and like being able to connect with people. So so with that, welcome to HayStack Mujer TV. Hey, your host, Rosaura, Figueroa, Mendoza, Rosa Salvaje, and we have Mr. Philthy, guitarist, producer, band member of Suenatron, and amazing person here visiting.
Is that my title?
Welcome.
That's my title?
Yeah, dude.
Amazing person?
Yes, sir.
Oh,
welcome,
sure.
welcome. And actually the first time I saw you was at the Robert F. Peckman Federal Building on First, performing. Sahe was leading along with other folks, leading a march regarding immigrant rights, and you ended up performing a couple songs. One of them was Bob Marley, the Bob Marley song.
I always do that song, Three Little Birds, you know. I do that one, or like Clandestino, like by Manu Chao. But yeah, I remember that day. It was cool. I have a picture from that day. I'll show you it later. But yeah, I remember like just like I remember that day. It really like dawned on me, like, yo, dude, like music and like activism and all this stuff, like kind of goes hand in hand.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's cool, like like how it does. Like art, you can change things with art too. You know? So
for sure.
Yeah, that was a cool experience.
Yeah.
I always would do those, you know, like Cesar would hit me up and be like, hey, can you play this? I'm like, yeah, if I can, you know, I'll swing over there and this and that, bring my guitar and this and that. But it's cool, you know.
Yeah, and what you're saying in terms of art and the movement going hand in hand, that's really true, because there has to be some sort of, because the work that I've been involved with in terms of community organizing or community building or whatever it is, there has to be a component that's fun to people. For me personally, like it can't just be all work and darkness and oh my god, people are hurting, and that's true. But there has to be some form of engagement, of fun, of people being able to share their gifts, whether it's through writing, through dancing, through DJing, through being able to play music, for people to have a good time as well, you know, so that it could be something that we're all doing this together. We're all trying to make the world a better place. And going back to your point about doing something locally, the way that I've been able to wrap my head around like making change is just focus on Hayward. It's not to say that I'm only going to focus on Hayward, but just focus on Hayward. What's like, who's who, what's what, like what's happening, like what needs are there, you know? And in that way, I'm able to understand a little bit more, like what can I do concretely, rather than let me just like getting overwhelmed. Like there's people starving in Africa and there's like this shit. I really cannot change that. I don't have the money like that, or I don't have like the time, energy, or resources like that, you know, so I can't do everything. But by just focusing on my circle of competence in terms of my life, my business, HayStack Mujer, and social justice here in Hayward, I'm able to wrap my head around like, okay, this is what I could definitely do.
Yeah, where you could focus on.
Yeah. But something that you've had is that
Excuse me.
whether you know it or not, you're also an activist in some ways, because you speak out. You seem to be very conscious of like what's happening around the world.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like as an artist or as a musician or whatever, like you use that voice to like bring stuff to light, you know, or you just, you know, you let your opinions be known. You know, I'm a huge fan of Bob Marley. Like, you know, he did it with music. He changed the world with music, you know, and it's like been proven. Like this fool, like
yeah, even just his song,
he did a lot of awesome things, you know, like
his song Redemption song, emancipate yourself from mental slavery, none but ourselves can free our minds. Like that's very key.
Yeah, like those words, like, you know, like those things, those types of lyrics, like they need to be out there more. You know, Manu Chao's another one for me. You know, his music is fun. It feels fun, but you listen to the lyrics and it's like he's talking about some real shit. You know, and that's what's cool. That's what's cool about music. You know, it's like you can make something sound like super happy and fun, but then you could be talking about some serious stuff. You know, and that's why like as an artist, I feel like you need to let your voice be known, you know, and kind of like, because you do have that voice, you have a way to like get out to the masses or whatever. I'm not like, you know, I don't know how much of a scope I have, but you know, it's like, again, whatever you can do in your means, in your circle, in your city, you do it, you know. And you know, like for me, a big thing in San Jose is like poverty, like homelessness. You know, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous how there's homeless people in San Jose, with all the tech that's there, with all the like Google's. Like I did the math like the other day. Like Google or Fate, one of them makes $121 million a day. Okay, a day. Like they could get rid of the problem within a week, and they don't even break a sweat. They'll make that money back in however long. But yet they want to move into San Jose and displace everybody, you know, and rise up the rent, rise up the cost of rent and everything like that.
Why do you think they don't do anything about it?
Well, I don't think they care. They make $120 million a day. You know,
so it's not in their interest to help out the community where they're working.
I don't. From what they've shown, from what they've been doing, I don't think they give a fuck. You know? And it's sad. You know, like it's just sad how like especially the city of San Jose has allowed this kind of stuff to like happen. You know, like there was a big old fight about the Google campus in San Jose, and you know a lot of people were against it. You know, but dude, you know how much they're getting paid? You know how much San Jose is getting paid for that? So it doesn't matter. It's all about money. You know, like, but again, it's like there's so much money. Like, what are they gonna do with it? You know, what are they doing with it? Like honestly, what the hell are you doing with $121 million a day? It's like, dude, you could fix that problem with maybe half of that. Or maybe a third of that, you know? Like, at least put it back into the community, you know?
And it's crazy how there's this rhetoric out there that, like, if you're poor, it's your fault, you're not working hard enough, you should be out there doing whatever it is you can to do better, to get more. And it's like, but the money's out there. It's just, it's a fucked up, rigged system, you know?
Yeah,
we need to talk about that. We need to put the focus on the system and how it's, like, really messed up. And you were talking about the violence as well. The violence is rampant, you know, in our communities, and it's often like historical as well. Like if we just look at Mexican people and like our history, it's like a very violent history. It keeps going and it keeps going, and so there has to be a point where the cycle is broken so that we can really, like, okay, stop, everybody breathe, like let's just quit it, you know. But going back to like when I start talking about this stuff, I get very like passionate because I get very angry.
Yeah,
so like
me too.
Angry sometimes. I get it's kind of like an addiction. Like I get angry and I'm like, oh, I want to stay angry. And I want to justify.
But see, you know what? But the thing is like that's why again as an artist, like you use the music, the fun part, to like start spreading the message and be like, yo, look, like we can change this, you know, but we just got to do it collectively as a collective together. You know, I mean, we can't really do anything, you know, against Google or whatever, but it's like we can just start like building community in San Jose, and fighting like, yo, like we need affordable housing, you know, in San Jose. We need affordable housing everywhere in the Bay Area, but it's like I'm in San Jose, so I'm concentrating on San Jose.
Right.
You know, it's ridiculous, and the rent, like I don't know, I don't really get it. I don't really get the numbers or whatever, but it's like. They're making so much money, you know. You don't need to like raise rent.
And it's crazy how there's this continued displacement of people that have been living in the community and they can no longer afford it. They have to move out to far off places where they like Modesto or whatever it is, you know, to be able to even have a roof and be able to, you know, be okay. And it's like.
Well, just like what happened in the Mission too. Like all these mysterious fires started happening. Wow. Like it was, dude. That's just if I go in on that, I'm gonna get angry.
Yeah, no, dude, I hear you.
Yeah.
But it's crazy how like if your family cannot build upon the same piece of soil in the same community, then you're very much restricted from being able to build on that power, that community power, and that community power is something that's very threatening to the status quo. Yeah. So if you continually are displacing people, like pushing them out, whether you're trying to or not, but based on what I've seen, it's like, yes, you don't care about the people, you're just coming in, pushing in.
Well, they just have a vision of San Jose and where brown people aren't in it. Simple as that.
When you say they, who's they?
The city of San Jose or whoever's pulling the strings, like doing all the vision of San Jose, you know, like how they want it to be. I mean, I'm pretty sure the city is a part of it, but you know, it's like there's probably a group of rich people that like, oh, we want San Jose to look like this, you know, like, but you know, it's like brown families probably aren't in that vision, you know, so.
Well, I think you're doing your part with doing music, right? That
yeah, I mean,
together.
because that's what I can do, and providing like a safe space and a cultural something that you can come and enjoy, you know, your culture.
Yeah.
With whatever. You know,
something you can relate to.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's very important.
And
your song "Vamos a la Playa" it's posted on Facebook.
Yeah.
So you're working on an EP.
Yeah.
Vamos a la Playa is super like, woo, like just start dancing.
Hyphy.
Hella hyphy, like cumbia hyphy, like if that's a new genre, whatever it is, it's like it's something I can relate to. It's in Spanish, it's cumbia, but it's also like, damn, I gotta start dancing right now.
Yeah,
like you can't deny it.
Yeah, you know, I mean, I've been working on the cumbia stuff for about 2 years now, just trying to get a sound and trying to like, I don't know, just trying to hone in on something, you know. And I think I finally honed in on it, and I'm just like figuring it out, you know.
Yeah.
Something cool that's coming up this year, and I think it's the first time I'm kind of saying it publicly. But I'm coming out with a vinyl, a 45, with Discos Mas, big ups to Roger Mas.
Hey.
Yeah, so I'm coming out with a vinyl with two songs. That one's not on it, but the one you're talking about, Vamos a la Playa. But yeah, I'm gonna be doing that, and then I'm gonna be, you know, along with that, I'm gonna be releasing like a series of songs, like a 6-7 song EP. And yeah, I mean, I've been hustling. I've been hustling this past 2 years just to try to like get something going, you know, like yeah, it's a tough process, you know, but.
And you touched upon going to the Grammys, and cumbia's not really there at the forefront. It's, you know, reggaeton.
I mean, it's a reggaeton, pop, and like regional, like banda, norteño, that's a grupo. Yeah, but I've been to like, you know, and like I was telling you before, like the only group you really see there is like Los Angeles Azules. It's the only one I've seen. Like I'm just like, dude, like there's other cumbia acts out there, you know, like. And okay, now when we go to Raymix, which I love, it's kind of cool because you kind of see him, like the other day, like at the premio, I think it's
Premio Nostro.
He was on, like he's singing and it's like cumbia, and it's like I was like, oh wow, that's awesome, like that's what I want to see, you know, like that's cool, you know. I mean, there's nothing wrong with the other types of music. It's just like, yo, like, you know, there's this other kind of
right, like cumbia exists and it's a big thing in the communities.
Yeah, like it's
whether
like,
the folks recognize it or not, it's something that like people dance to.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I honestly, like for me, I think it's pretty lit, you know. I think it can get the party started, you know, like wherever you go, you know. And I've seen it time and time again. Anywhere I've been, I traveled over the United States. I traveled to Mexico. Anytime I go to a restaurant, in the back with the paisas, they're bumping some cumbia. They're not bumping anything else. I think only a couple times I've heard like a banda or something, you know. But every time I go, it's like cumbia sonidera. Always, like, or different types of cumbia, whatever. Always, you know. And I'm like, and I hear that, and I kind of like internalize it. I'm like, yo, dude, like, it's just big, you know, like it's big. Yeah. And people listen to it, and it's like, yo, but it's like it's not represented on the big stage, you know, where it's like, yo, like this needs to be at the forefront. You know? Yeah.
What made you want to get into cumbia 2 years ago?
Oh no, like so I've been doing cumbia remixes since like 2008. 2007, but I didn't start doing like my own cumbia music till like almost like 2-3 years ago. But
then you said you started playing the accordion like 2 years ago.
Yeah, no, I've always wanted to get to learning the accordion, and I started learning it, and it's, you know, it's like it's a hard instrument, you know, but I love music, so I'm like, oh, I'm gonna do it, you know. All
right, dude, getting your Ramon Ayala on.
Yeah, I know, huh? Yeah, Ramon Ayala is hella hard to play. But yeah, you know, I mean, it's like I see the movement now, you know. It's like El Dusty from Corpus Christi, you know. dude, he's been, and he was nominated for a Latin Grammy, I think like a year ago, 2 years ago. So again, it's like slowly like creeping in, you know, and I can't wait, you know, because it's like you hear a lot of bands from LA, Buya Pongo, like from here, Quien Sabe.
From Salinas, I saw them in Oakland. So good.
I'm trying to think of like bands right now. I'm like, but but Oakland in the Bay Area, like here in the West Coast, Oakland is where it's at for cumbia. You know, this is where it's going down right now, like hands down.
I seen the La Gran Puchica as well with Quien Sabe.
Yeah. I've heard of it. I just discovered this band called, I think it's called Combo Seteta, something like that. But they're badass. There's like chicha, like psychedelic chicha, you know. Like, you know, there's a bunch of cool bands from LA too. I'm trying to think of them. Like
chicha is de Peru.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's coming back in a big way right now. Like people, you know, a lot of people are doing it, so it's cool, you know. And there's different types, you know. There's like there's chicha, and then there's, you know, comida sonidera, you know, comida de Puebla. There's a bunch of different types. Cumbia colombiana, you know, the original OG one, you know. But yeah, it's like it's cool to see, you know, all the bands coming out.
It's exciting because I grew up listening to hip hop and obviously also the songs of my parents, like Selena. You know, like my dad had the music shop, so growing up with Selena, Los Temerarios, Marco Antonio Solís, all that stuff. But there wasn't anything that I can personally, like I'm saying, like I grew up with hip hop, but it wasn't like they were talking about me, like they weren't talking about my story, right? Like it's something I could like listen to and like, okay, you know, this is cool.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like, damn, if I would have grown up with Selena in the sense that like she would have been making music as I was growing up, like damn, like that would have changed my life in the sense of like, wow, she actually looks like me and like she's talking about my story and like she's talking, and like her dad was like, I could like her dad seemed like my dad, like very como strict and all these things, right?
Yeah.
But I guess what I'm trying to get at is that there was a huge gap in me being able to see myself in the music that's being created, and I feel like that's coming now, and it's very exciting to like, wow, cool, like I can relate to this, I can dance to this, and they're talking Spanish, like they're talking about things that like I can like that I can just relate to, and it's exciting to be able to see yourself in the music. So
yeah, and I think a lot of that has to do with the internet, the power of the internet, like technology, like you know, usually with just the record labels just like kind of showing you what was cool, you know, this and that, and they still are kind of, but now like the internet just rules, you know. You see something you like, you go on YouTube, you see something you like, you know, you can just, it's accessible, you know. Like you don't have to like go to the CD store or go to the tape store or whatever now, you know. I don't know, I sound old, but, you know, but it's like you don't have to go over there and find out what's cool. It's like you can just click on your computer,
like, and sometimes even connect directly with the artist. Message them.
Everything's accessible. Everything's accessible now. And the power of the internet really, really like opened up, like changed the music game for a lot of artists. You know, it's like because you don't really need a label anymore. You know, like labels are cool, but you don't need it. You know, it's like why sign to a label when you can just do it yourself, work a little harder, and just get all the money yourself. You know, it's like you don't really need it. You know, I mean, all the label is there to do is just like it's a money machine. You know, and it promotes you on a big scale. You know, but it's like again, you put in the work, make your connections. You'll be able to do that yourself. You know, like a prime example is Los Vacas. They're a prime example of independent like hustle. You know, like. I don't know. I mean, I know there's other successful ones, but like from what I've seen, they're super successful with that, and they're super smart at it, you know. And I don't know if they sign now, so I don't want to be like yo. But when they first started, they were super independent, you know.
And on this one,
the Oakland, yeah. So I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like it's just like it can be done, you know. So. And that's what's cool. It's like now you can just find artists that you can relate to, you know. Like you don't have to go somewhere else to look for it. You can just go on your computer and boom, there it is.
Nice.
You know.
So it's 2019. What are you wanting to manifest in just your music life, professional life, and wanting to bring in for the new year?
The new year, money.
Yes, money.
Let me get that money, man.
Yeah, calling it in.
Law of attraction. Just like opportunities, you know, to do big things, and you know, to kind of like establish myself more as like a force, you know, in the music world, you know, and yeah, I mean, with like Suena Throne, we've been working on an album, and I think like with this music, it's gonna really it's gonna take us another place, you know. We've been in like the regional world, you know, regional mexicana, for 2-3 years, you know. We've been playing at like just all around the country, you know, but like mainly at like bailes and all that stuff, you know, opening for Banda MS, and you know, we played with Los Temerarios, we played with Bronco, we played with everyone, you know.
Shout out.
But yeah, you know, we've been in that world, you know, but I think this music that we're making now, it's gonna kind of take us a different way, and take us a different route, and be like, yo, we're gonna be able to find like, kind of connect more to the younger generation, you know, as to where we're playing like to the older generation.
Right.
And
is it that the sound is changing, or y'all are working differently?
The sound is completely different. Okay. Because we've been releasing like singles, and like it's been like a pop. We've been calling it popteño, but it's like pop, like mixed with like norteña music, and you know, but it's like now it's just kind of like, I don't know, it just feels like edgier, like it feels like, I don't know, it just feels more, it just feels more raw. It's a more raw sound, you know, and it's kind of like more of what we want to kind of do, not as opposed to like, oh, people like this, you know. Right. Kind of, we're just like, yo, like, let's do what we want to do, you know? Yeah. And that's what we were doing. We've been recording since May, and with Juan Caipo, he's the drummer for Bang Data. He's been helping us produce our album, and yeah, it's been a really cool process. It's been a really cool process, and he kind of helped us like find our sound too, you know, because he's awesome, and yeah, you know, just like manifesting all that, you know, like all the projects I'm in, all the projects I'm working with to get it, you know, to get them to the next level, you know, and yeah, as far as my individual concern, or my individual manifestations are, yeah, I just want to like just travel and play for people around the country and the world. Yeah. Hell yeah. You know, that's what I want to do. That's all I want to do.
Yes, it's gonna happen. Who do you personally want to collaborate with?
Raymix would be cool.
Raymix calling you.
Cool. Raymix would be cool. Man, I've always wanted to rock with Café Tacuba, man. Okay. I've always wanted to rock with him.
Café Tacuba.
I've always wanted to rock with.
Coming for you.
Who else? Let me see. I'm trying to think. I don't know. Dang, Los Angeles Azules would be sick too. They would be pretty sick. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, yeah, I guess I have to think, but I mean, off top, that's like
those three folks.
Yeah, that's three. Okay. You know, we'll see. It's good.
Cool. Yeah. And there's no reason why you can't do it. You know, you've been putting in the work and the time and the effort. So just building those connections. Yeah. Hopefully, you know, it leads to those people. You know. Mm-hmm. And then also what you mentioned about wanting to bring in money, like getting paid what you're worth. That's a huge thing. You know, you have been sacrificing, I'm sure, your time, energy, resources, investing in yourself, investing in probably in Suena Throne as well. You know, you go to practice, you put in the time.
No, right? It's a sacrifice. There's a lot of sacrifice. Yeah.
So definitely putting in the work. So it seems that, of course, like you have to love what you do to like make that sacrifice and to actually do it. But obviously you are doing what you love. You know, music is seems to be your calling or the thing that you want to do, right? So definitely manifesting that money. Getting paid your worth. Mm-hmm. There's no reason why you can't do it. So hopefully, you know, you continue to make that happen.
You know, it's just networking, getting yourself out there. For any artists that are out there, just networking. Get yourself into places. Get out of your comfort zone and just hit people up. You know, you never know what could happen. Yeah. So. That's what it's all about.
And a lot of it is connected to like what they say about even getting a job, for example. It's not, you can have the nice resume, the degree, all that stuff, but sometimes it's just about who you know, and like they can get your foot in the door and make it happen for you.
The music business is about like 80% of that. Like who you know. I mean, I don't know. Have you seen the artists out today?
Like who in particular?
No, I don't know. Anybody. I mean, anybody that's whacked. You know.
Who are these people that are whacked?
I don't know. You told me. But anybody's that's out there, you know, like that's not like the greatest artist, you know, but they just know someone and they get in, and you know, that's it.
And sometimes it seems maybe not just even in music, but sometimes people just do it for the money. They don't necessarily care about the craft, about making good music. They're just like, I want to get the money, and I can change myself into whatever I have to become to make that money, and just put out whatever mediocre music that they're putting out. And again, it's not about music. You could do that in any sphere of life, where it's like you're just doing it for the money. You don't really care about actually putting in the time, effort, and energy to make it good.
Yeah, there's a lot of artists out there like that, but you know, I mean, it's like, you know, and that's the thing, but those artists, they only last for so long. Like, it's the real ones, it's the real artists that like stand like the test of time. You know, like those types of artists come, they're just like it's like a revolving door. You know? Like you'll see like I don't know, like a pop star or whatever, and it's just like a door. You know? The next thing will come out. You know, like, and then they'll be gone. You know? Yeah. And that's it.
So you got upcoming performances on Friday, January 18th.
With
Cumbia Town in Oakland.
Yeah. 7th Street West, I think is the venue's called. Yeah, well, El Cucayo, Turbo Solidero, G-Flux, and then myself. It's also hosted by, I don't even know, Reporte Ilegal.
No.
Yeah, he's a cool guy, Wilson, and Discos Resaca, Ivan.
Oh, yeah, Discos Resaca, shout out to you.
Yeah, so it's hosted by them, and
Woo!
Yeah, so I mean, yeah, we're gonna be rocking. We're doing a little some live beats and maybe bust out the accordion. You know, who knows?
Hey.
Maybe.
Cool.
Yeah.
And then you got Sunday, January 20th. You're playing with Suenatron at Avaya Stadium.
Yeah, it's gonna be like a meet and greet or welcoming for the new coach for the Earthquakes. So yeah, man, come out. I believe it's free. I'm pretty sure it's free. But yeah, I mean.
What about the 18th?
The 18th, it's like I think it's like $10.
Okay. $10, people. Get out your wallets.
Yeah.
Support your local artists that are trying to make it happen. Hello.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, and then you put this song out, shouting out your lady.
Yeah, the girl. Yeah, dude, she's been this has been funny because she's been asking me to do that song for like a year almost. So I was like, okay, I'll do it. Yesterday she was hitting me up about it again. I was like, okay, I'll do it. I did it pretty quick. I thought I was gonna have hell trouble because that song's super hard. Like with Spanish, like I can't really speak Spanish too well, you know. But I can understand a lot of it. But singing in it, I kind of connect with it more. But this song was super hard, so. But I did it, so it's cool.
How has it been having a partner, a lady that is just supportive of you? In your grind, and I'm sure she's grinding.
It's hard. It's hard because it's long distance too. So, and she's in the business too. You know, she works with artists and she knows. You know, she knows the struggle and she knows what it takes. You know, to get to where you need to be. You know, and yeah, but it's you know it's like anything. It's like any relationship. You know, it's hard. You know, but it's like if. There's where there is a will, there's a way. Yeah. So, you know.
And it seems that y'all seem, and again, I don't know her. It's just through stuff that you have posted, right, on your social media. But it seems that y'all have similar goals, moving in the same direction. So that's very powerful and key, especially as an artist, as a person who's creating projects and putting them out and doing things like that. Definitely continuing to have that support.
Dude, she's a badass, man. She's a badass.
Shout out to the badass ladies of the world.
No, yeah, she does like modeling. Like she gets hit up. She does, I think, for what's it, Fashion Nova.
Okay.
She does that for Forever 21. Cool. You know, she does a lot of stuff, but then she also does like where she works with artists, like artist management and all that stuff. So, I mean, she's built like an empire for herself, and it's crazy. And she inspires me to like do better, you know? And because it's like I don't have a lot, you know, I don't have that much, you know, like that I can say that I've done. But you know, I've been working and inspired, and she inspires me to do better. So that's why I've been like working my ass off as of late.
That's amazing. That's beautiful, and hopefully y'all continue to have that strong bond. You know, it's very, very key and important.
Yeah, it's important in a relationship.
Yeah, cool. So as a final question that I like to ask, you know, and so again, inspired by the Zapatistas, from Chiapas, Mexico, you know, wanting to, and because you have this social justice lens of understanding, you know, the world is not fair and we do need to put in our part to make it better. So in a world where many worlds fit, what would you personally want to create in your world?
In a world where many worlds fit, what would I want to create in my world? I don't know, like, shit, that's a tough question. I mean, I could be like cliche and be like world peace, but that ain't gonna happen. I don't know. I mean, I just guess more unity, you know, in our culture, you know, like not so much like just bagging on everyone, and you know, I mean, George Lopez jokes about it a lot, but like we always hate on each other, you know, and it is like that, you know, it is like that. There's been, you know, there's a lot of just haters and this and that, but just dude, just stop being so negative, you know, about everything, and bring more positivity and just be united and on the cultural front, you know. And I think I think the only good thing that has come out of like Trump being president is that it is uniting people. Like it's bringing people closer together, you know, where we're like, yo, dude, like this fool got elected, and so we gotta make sure this doesn't happen again, you know. So I feel like there's like this shift in like perception, and this shift in like, yo, we gotta like stop fighting with each other and go after this, because this is the real problem, you know. Whatever's going on between us is not a problem. This whatever's going on over here, and you know, is the real problem, and it's reared its ugly ass head out from the woodwork, you know. And it's just like, honestly, like this whole shit. This is like the white, like the whole white supremacy is like I think it's the last stand for white supremacy. You know? Like it's like the last push. You know, we're gonna be the minority. I mean, we're gonna be the majority in I don't know how many years, and I think it just really invokes fear into people. You know, but it doesn't have to, because it's like we're not taking anything away from you. You know, you're still gonna be doing what you do. You know, so I think like if anything, if I want to evoke anything in my world, yeah, it's like being more unified, even with other cultures, you know, even with white people, with black people, Asians, you know, all types of people, you know, just on a united front. Like, yo, we got to push this world into a more positive direction. You know, not so much like you need to do this and you need to do that.
Yeah,
but it's like,
and I appreciate that, because we're all in this together, whether we know it or not, right? It's important to recognize that we're all being affected by what I see as the enemy is violence, right? So Trump to me he says a whole bunch of stuff, but really what he represents is violence. Yeah. And I don't know what happened to him growing up that he turned into who he became, right? But I don't have to know to understand that right now he's a person that I wouldn't want to be around just because he's very violent, right? So so that's what I see the problem as, you know, verbal, emotional, psychological, physical, sexual, however you want to break down violence. Those are the 5 ways that I break it down, right? And being able to really come together, like you're saying, unifying. Because violence doesn't just affect brown people, it affects everybody. Black folks, Asian folks, you know, gay, straight, whoever it is, you know. So I definitely appreciate you, you know, coming through, sharing your voice, and
thank you for having me. Like, I don't really do a lot of this stuff, so I'm like, but you know, I know you, so you're hella cool.
San Jose brother, hey, yeah. East ESSJ, yeah. So con eso, you know, looking forward to definitely Vamos a la Playa. I'm like really excited about that song.
I'm gonna send it to you as soon as
especially for the summer. Hey.
I'm gonna send it to you as soon as it's done.
And looking forward to that EP. Looking forward to everything is to come. Looking forward to seeing you collaborate with Café Tacuba, with Raymix, with Los Ángeles Azules. It's coming. And definitely, like, if you know, if you want to see Mr. Philthy live, the 18th is a really good chance for you to do that. Cumbia Town in Oakland. And also, which we'll be posting on the HayStack Mujer Instagram. And Sunday, January 20th, playing with Suenatron at Avaya Stadium as well. So come through, you know, if you yourself are an artist and you're just wanting for some type of direction, go out and make those contacts, talk to those people, make that community.
Hustle.
Yes.
Hustle
make
mania.
it happen. Make it happen. So
Yeah.
con eso, thank you so much, Mr. Philthy, for coming
Thank you.
through. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you folks for
you.
watching. So
Yeah.
peace.
Late.
Bye.